Why did I move to Taiwan? What the hell was I thinking moving to this amazing, affordable island somewhere in Asia? Well, let's talk about that a little bit. To be honest, I have a bit of a confession to make. Taiwan was not the first country that I moved to. If you've been following me for a while on YouTube, you know that I lived in China for a while. And if you haven't, consider hitting the subscribe button if you want to see more videos about life in Taiwan. It helps me out a lot. Now, I get these questions asked a lot, like, why did you move abroad? Why did you move to, China or Taiwan? Well, the reason I moved abroad in the first place is because it was something I wanted to do from a rather early-ish age, I think, because my big sister, she's 11 years older than me, and when I was in like junior high school or just starting high school, she moved to Japan, and she would send me like cool magazines and postcards. I was like, that looks amazing. And since then, I've always wanted to move abroad. And when I finally graduated from college, it was time. Like, I had to go choose a country that I wanted to live in. And I thought about going to Japan, but it seemed, I don't know, I was looking for something a little bit more adventurous. I was in my early 20s. I was doing well. I had a job at a kindergarten. I had a decent car, and I was doing okay, but I wanted something a little bit more kind of out there, and China popped up on my map. I started researching a little bit, and it looked like something I'd want to check out. And honestly, the first year there was, it tested my character, we'll say that. Once I moved from Henan to Guangdong, I started to have a ton of fun. I met my best friends, the reason I have a YouTube channel, Simok and all of them. And at first, China, not even at first, like for a lot of it, China was a ton of fun. After 4 years, it got a bit, I don't know how you would say, less fun. Simok and a lot of my friends started moving back to the States where they're from. And I fell into a bit of a feeling of depression, I think. China started to feel a little bit, I don't know, it's honestly, I've been thinking about this for a long time, how to put into words the feeling, the atmosphere that China gives you. It's not easy, but it just started to feel a bit empty, a bit soulless, a bit like nothing really exists. And I honestly felt really depressed. I started to not really want to get out of bed and go to work and experience the things that China had to offer. I'm not happy anymore here at all. I still feel really lucky that I've had the chance to live here, and I feel lucky that, I've had all these opportunities, but it's just not, I don't know, it's not doing it for me anymore, And I don't know, I was getting a little bit tired of roughing it, right? Because China's still a developing country, and although you can, your apartment might be new and nice, there's still a lot of that in your day-to-day life that you're gonna have to deal with. And I don't know, I was just kind of getting, I was starting to get into my mid-20s, and I was like, I was looking at other places to go, and I thought, well, I always wanted to go to Japan, let's check that out. I did want something that was still offered some sense of adventure, and I'm sure there's tons of adventure to have in Japan. I did get to visit, it was amazing, but it didn't have that, it was too secure, too safe, we'll say. I know that sounds ridiculous, but it didn't really have that kind of, that oomph, that spice of life that I was kind of looking for. And also they speak Japanese, and I had already learned a little bit of Chinese, and I'm really lazy, so I didn't want to have to go through the trouble of learning a new language. And that's when my buddy Simok started to talk about Taiwan. And I was like, Taiwan? That's okay, because it wasn't really ever on my map, so to speak. And that happens to a lot of people. In fact, my one good buddy Xiaofei, a fellow YouTuber who makes amazing videos about traveling in Taiwan from his van and outdoorsy life. Not only does he make great YouTube videos, he's also a really stand-up guy. So if you're looking for something a bit different about the sort of the more outdoorsy stuff in Taiwan, go check out his channel. It's amazing. But anyways, he was saying that, years ago he did a bit of backpacking, and he never came to Taiwan because no one ever talked about it. It's like no one ever really knows anything about that place. And so he never went. And I was kind of going through the same thing, because living in China, Taiwan, doesn't really come up a lot in conversation. And when it does, sorry, I'm having to yell into my GoPro. Scooters are really loud. It's kind of rush hour right now. But when it does come into conversation, it's another part of China to Chinese people. It's not even a question. It wasn't ever something I ever looked at, but he started to tell me about how everyone rides scooters, which is true, evidently, as you can see behind me. How, it's a lot more social, it's a lot more secure. livability long term is a lot more here, which is great. That was definitely something I was looking forward to, because I would argue that China isn't exactly the best place to spend a ton of time. Like, I wouldn't retire there. Let's get ready for another giant wave of scooters so you can't hear me. Anyways, I started researching more and more, and I thought it was the perfect place because, yes, Taiwan is safe, it is secure, it is, you know, the healthcare here is amazing. It's unbelievable. Probably some of the best in Asia, if not the world. I started to learn about Taiwan a lot more. I started to learn about how they've got crystal clear waters and beaches down in Kenting, how there's enormous, massive cities like Taipei, and then there's also mountains with beautiful roads, twisties, which was really important for me because I really like to ride. That was another thing that drove me away from China. If you want to know more reasons why I left China, you can click on the top right-hand corner of the screen. I made a video about that already. But, you know, all my motorcycles and scooters kept getting stolen in China. And also, I may have got a little bit of trouble with the government, with my friends for being YouTubers, and we're kind of forced to leave, but whatever, a story for another time. But I started learning a lot more about Taiwan. It just seemed like the perfect fit. And so I applied for a job, and after 4 years of living in China, I moved down here. And I was kind of expecting it to be somewhat similar to how it was in China, but I'm blown away still to this day how different it is. And you know, politics aside, I keep getting yelled at for being too political in my videos, so I'm trying to keep that out of it. But it is very different, and so I think just there's that kind of fun, raw experience you get in Taiwan that I was looking for, which is a big reason I came here. It's safe. It's secure, it's gorgeous, it's beautiful naturally, and I think that Taiwan deserves a lot more recognition than it gets right now internationally anyways. And it's not, I don't think it's in no part in Taiwan's fault. I'm sure maybe the tourism board could do a little bit better of a job promoting internationally, but maybe they can't. Again, not getting into politics, but China plays a big role there. Also, the other thing too is that the people here are amazing. I mean, one thing I was kind of wary about when I was asking my friends about Taiwan when they were trying to tell me about it, I was like, what are the people like? Because, you know, Chinese people are super great. They're very fun. They're very blunt, though. They're very, they don't have a lot of tact when they talk to you. And as fun as they are, it does, again, like I said, get tiring. And I think that's one of the big things for me, was that we got tiring. And, you know, the one big thing you'll always hear about Taiwanese people is just how unbelievably friendly they are. There's a number of reasons for that I'll get into in other videos if you like, but let me tell you from first-hand experience, they're really friendly, especially to foreigners. They're so welcoming and always willing to help out, and they understand your position a lot. And I've said this in previous videos, but a lot of Taiwanese people have traveled abroad, or they've gone abroad to study in university and stuff, and so they know what it's like to be a foreigner in another country. I think that's why I moved to Taiwan. I don't know if that made a ton of sense. I hope it did. That was kind of my story, a quick summarized story of why I moved here, and I don't regret it. And again, if you want to know if other foreigner YouTubers regret moving to Taiwan, I've got another video on that. Click on the top right-hand corner of the screen with your mouse button. It'll open another tab. You can watch that later on. Anyways, the sun's going down here. I got to get back home, where it is time to check last week's top comments. And last week's video was about why foreigners, or Western people, I'm going to get hit by a car, don't wear masks. Video made some really hilarious skits with Alan. I encourage you to check that out as well. So anyways, let's get home and read them comments, shall we? Okay, yes, last week's top comment comes from Too Loose Lautrec, and it says, I have been trying to convince people around me to wear a mask, and I use the fact that Taiwan has not been hit very hard at all, and they still don't have a high count of infection, but no one believes me. Yesterday, I went to a Walmart and almost nobody was wearing a mask. Even some of the clerks were not wearing one. There was one customer talking real loud without a mask, and I almost told him to shut up, because when you talk loud, you spit out more viruses, but I just did a detour around him. And yeah, it's pretty crazy to hear stories of people who have to live in the States with where the pandemic is obviously a lot more serious. And in fact, Alan and Xiaofei just talked about this in a video that they made, which you should definitely go check out. I thought it was really interesting. But yeah, I honestly feel so lucky that I live in Taiwan and I don't have to go through situations like that. So man, I really do hope everything works out. But anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this week's video. If you want to see more, hit the subscribe button. It really helps me out. If you want to follow me on my day-to-day life, you can check me out on Instagram at prosy_sr. And with that, as usual, guys, stay positive, keep your stick on the ice. Catch you guys in the next one.